Coming up on UCF Nightly News. More UCF faculty members are in hot water this week, and we'll tell you who's now in charge.
And the coronavirus has made its way to the U.S. We'll tell you how the university is reacting to the outbreak.
Earthquakes happening in the Caribbean have been felt here in Florida. Stay tuned to see just how far the tremors reached.
And in sports, Kobe Bryant's sudden death shocked millions across the world, and the UCF community is no different. Hear what his legacy means to the men's basketball team.
Nightly News starts now.
Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Jayla Wilkes. Today is Friday, January 31st, 2020. This week we saw the latest in a series of administrative turnovers. Carolina Tessutto is in the studio with a Nightly News special report. Let's jump right in. Carolina?
Thanks, Jayla. We're back at the Nightly News special report set because breaking this week, UCF began the termination process for 3 members of the Institute for Simulation and Training. I had the opportunity to sit down with new interim director Wes Naylor and talk about the future of the program. Here's what he had to say. If you have any plans, what are they just to kind of moving forward from everything that has happened?
My charter is actually pretty simple. I asked to come in with a clean sheet of paper. Part of my skill set is working with large organizations, taking a look at the culture, taking a look at the process and procedures that are being used. So I wanted to come in with an unbiased eye to see how the Institute was running, what was being done here, what's being done well, what might need some improvement. And in accordance with that, I've been asked to do 3 basic things. One, just come in and kind of steady the ship, make sure the students, the faculty, the researchers are being taken care of, that the actions that have come forward of a few don't impact the great work that's done here or our relationships with our partners and those that are seeking degrees here. The second is to launch a search and see it to its conclusion for a full-time permanent director for the Institute. And then finally, to help build the business base of the Institute.
And what would the timeline be, if there is one yet, for finding a new permanent director?
You know, search timelines are kind of driven by the process itself. I think a reasonable estimate would be in the 6-month time frame. That would be quick. I'm here at the disposal of the president and the university for whatever they need, but that will be the break point for me, is when we find the right person to come in and take over the position full time.
Now, NSM Today news editor Jason Beatty is here to tell us a little bit more about the IST terminations. Thanks for being with us today, Jason.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, Jason, this week we obtained some notice of termination letters for the 3 UCF employees. What can you tell us about the employees in question?
Yeah, so one of them is the director of the IST program, Rondell Shoemaker, and the other 2 are professors who worked in the program.
Wow. And from what I read, there was actually a doctoral student also involved in what caused all of this. How was that person involved?
Yeah, so the way it worked was under the investigation, it was found out that the actual doctoral student and other students worked for organizations and companies that would basically give these grants to UCF, and the UCF basically looked at that and said that's a conflict of interest. They were working for the programs that were they were working for companies that were giving grants to the program. And the students actually had a direct involvement in that process of what grant would go to the program.
Of course. And besides the termination, what would you say the other consequences would be for those involved?
Yeah, so right now UCF is currently looking into rescinding the PhD student doctoral degree, and actually the independent firm that looked into this, that did the investigation, is suggesting that possibly the PhD student actually violated federal bribery laws. So we're still looking into that, though.
Of course. And Jason, I have to ask, how did UCF find out about this?
So the process of how they found out about it was an anonymous complaint went to the UCF Integrity Line, which is like a whistleblower system that allows students or faculty that have concerns with something going on to anonymously report something. So that process worked correctly, and because of that, they were able to actually look into it and hire an independent firm to do a full-fledged investigation after the complaint was filed.
Of course, and as of right now, this is a developing story. So tune in to us or to NSM Today at their website to find out anything else that happens with this. And now, as we know, this is actually the latest in a series of administrative shakeups in the last year and a half. Since September 2018, 11 UCF administrators and faculty are no longer in their positions. And UCF currently has 4 administrators serving in interim positions. Now, if we look back to September 2018, this is kind of where everything started. Bill Merck, the CFO, at the time, he stepped down and Kathy Mitchell was named CFO. Now, this is still a look at what they look like. And then kind of quiet for a few months. Then in January 2019, that's when 4 administrators high up in UCF administration were fired. Those 4 were Tracy Clark, Lee Kernick, John Pittman, and Christy Tan. But we also had a change in the Board of Trustees, right, Jason?
Yeah, so those 3 faculty members you mentioned were part of the budget office that basically signed off on things for the Colburn Hall scandal. Many of you may remember that. And then Marcus Marchina, actually, he was the chairman for the Board of Trustees. He stepped down in his role.
Of course. And then February of 2019, that's when Marcos Marchena, he officially left the Board of Trustees, not just stepped down from his position as chair, but just completely was no longer part of the Board of Trustees. And as we all remembered, that's when Dale Whittaker, he offered his resignation, which was later approved by the board, and Robert Garvey, he took over Marchena's place over on the board. So here's just so you guys know what they look like. And so over in March 2019, that's when our current interim president, Thad Seymour, he was put in the president's place. April 2019, that's when we got a new CFO, Dennis Crudell. And kind of like before, for a few months, things were kind of quiet until this month. We had some interesting developments with Elizabeth Dooley, right, Jason?
Yeah, so Elizabeth Dooley is the provost. She's been put on paid leave. It's still a little unclear how long she's on paid leave for, and actually they didn't even clarify why she was put on paid leave. They were just raised concerns mentioned.
Of course, and like we mentioned before, the IST terminations that happened just this week. And if anything else develops, we will keep you updated. But for right now, I'll tell you, thanks for stopping by, Jason. And I'll be back with Jayla soon to tell you everything else going on in the UCF area. But right now, let's toss it over to Armond Sarduy to see what we can expect outside tonight. What do you have for us, Armond?
Thank you, Carolina. Well, first, let's talk about the photo behind me. You see, behind me is cloudy conditions. It's going to be a little bit cloudy tonight. And currently it's 61 degrees and humidity at 68. So it's going to be a little bit muggy and also a little bit cool on the cool side as well. When we look at the wind, it's going to be southwest and going 5 to 10 miles per hour. So it'll be a little bit breezy, so make sure you keep a heavy coat on you tonight and also don't get blown away. Also, we're going to look at 50% chance of rain, and that's a little bit different from what we had in the past few days. 50% chance of rain, that's going to be occur like around maybe tonight, later tonight, and then overnight, and going into early Saturday morning. So back to you, Carolina and Jayla at the desk.
Thanks, Armond. UCF fraternity Sigma Chi is facing suspension until the end of 2020. Sigma Chi is the 3rd fraternity currently facing suspension. The suspension follows an incident that happened back in September. Multiple members of the fraternity started throwing drinks onto a dance floor and hit another student. The fraternity is under review for disruptive conduct, harmful behavior, and alcohol-related misconduct. According to a student conduct incident report, some members also threatened to jump the student. Those living in the on-campus house must leave by May 15th.
UCF is joining the Florida Department of Health and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in monitoring the coronavirus. Health officials confirmed cases of the virus in the U.S. following an outbreak in China. The university is monitoring which students and faculty have plans to go to China or have been there already. The virus causes flu-like symptoms. Dr. Michael Dyken is the Associate Vice President at Student Health Services, and he says the virus will be a challenge if it comes here.
It comes here, people won't know, do I have the coronavirus or do I have seasonal flu or something else? So that will be a challenge.
Health organization declared a global health emergency Thursday. Health Services advises students to cover their coughs and sneezes and avoid contact with those who are sick.
Coming up after the break, we'll see how UCF plays a part in powering spacecrafts.
Plus, UCF downtown campus is helping students bring their business ideas to life. Stay tuned. UCF's research team was chosen to develop a new way to power spacecrafts when solar energy isn't available. Nightly News reporter Amber Manuel has more on this innovative discovery.
UCF is one of 14 universities to receive a grant for NASA research. The grant will fund the equipment and experiments to design the material that will fuel spacecraft. The new fuel presents less risk than the isotope NASA currently uses. Co-investigator Dr. Richard Blair says this new technology will generate power more easily.
The idea is to have a heat source that can produce heat for 10 days at very high temperatures, and that can be used to power spacecraft, or it can be used to keep spacecraft warm so that the electronics can work.
The 3-year project officially started January 13th. According to graduate lead Katerina Chagoya, this project will be the first of its kind.
I'm really excited. So this will be one of the first projects that we actually conduct an experiment in real time inside of the glove box where things are being ignited, and I'm sort of watching it go.
Chagoya will conduct the experiment and analyze the data afterwards. Dr. Blair hopes this technology will be accessible to everyday people. In Orlando, Amber Manuel, UCF Nightly News.
Dr. Blair says it's rare to have something that you work on in a lab go directly into application. The research team's first step is programming software to monitor the generation of heat.
The UCF Downtown Innovation District added a new business incubator space in the heart of downtown Orlando this past week. The new space offers a wide range of programs for clients to grow their businesses and help the area's growing tech industry. The Innovation District offers benefits such as unique corporate partnerships and innovation labs. Lillian Myers, Executive Director of the newest edition Starter Studio, says this expansion grants UCF students resources to start their own companies.
It's a unifying effect that says this is the right place to be at the right moment in time. We're doing things that are so different and so new and unique in a community.
If you want to learn more about entrepreneurship or start your own businesses, visit incubator.ucf.edu for more information.
An earthquake shook the Caribbean this week. Find out how it rippled all the way here to the Sunshine State.
And Armond Sarduy has your 5-day forecast. Find out if we're going to have some rain or sun this weekend. Thunderstorms, hurricanes, and now earthquakes. The Caribbean has been the subject of many disastrous storms over the years, and earthquakes broke their way onto the list this week. The U.S. Geological Survey recorded an earthquake south of Cuba and northwest of Jamaica with a magnitude of 7.7. The effects of the earthquake came all the way to Florida, where buildings in Miami evacuated due to shakes. Some shakes were reportedly felt as north as Spectrum Stadium, right here on UCF's campus. UCF physics professor Dr. Joseph Donahue got his PhD in geological sciences and described the quake as unusual.
There have been about 5 or 6 others over historic time that have been similar. In fact, there have been a couple of 8s in what you might call prehistoric time before recorded history. But yeah, this is an unusual event.
While the earthquakes are alarming, Dr. Donahue says Orlando should not be expecting any danger.
You know, this year it seems there has been a lot going on with the weather, but I'm curious to know what's going on locally these next few days.
Me as well. Armond, can you walk us through what our upcoming weather is looking like?
Thank you, Jayla. So we're going to first look at the state capital of Tallahassee. It's going to be 59 degrees right here. And we're going next to Jacksonville, home of Kyle Partain, 69 degrees. And Orlando and Tampa are at neck and neck at 74 degrees. And Miami, where I'm from, it's a low 79 degrees. We're going to take out the lows now. So the lows of Tallahassee is like maybe a 12-degree drop at 47 degrees. Jacksonville, 50 degrees, and Orlando again and Tampa neck and neck at 61 degrees, excuse me. And Miami is a cool 70 degrees. So we're going to take out the five-day forecast. So for Saturday, it's going to be really, really, really rainy at 60% chance of rain. So if you're going to the women's basketball game, I'm pretty sure you need an umbrella. So you're going to, and it's a high of 68 degrees and low of 48 degrees. And look at Sunday. So Sunday is 66 degrees and low of 45 degrees, excuse me, and 0% chance of rain. So that trend is going to go forward to Monday. So Monday is going to same thing, 0% chance of rain, and Monday and a high of 72 degrees and a low of 51. And Tuesday, we're going to look at 76 degrees and a low of 60 degrees and a 0% chance of rain. And Wednesday is going to be a little bit more hotter at 80 degrees and 66 degrees is the low and a 20% chance of rain. So that's your 5-day forecast. Back to you, Carolina and Jayla at the desk.
Coming up after the break, the men's basketball team is back in action this weekend against USF. Hear what the Knights need to do to get the win.
Yeah, and the women's team returns home to face the SMU Mustangs this weekend.
Welcome back, Knights fans. My name is Kyle Partain, and here's the latest news on UCF Sports. Many people around the world are mourning the loss of sports icon Kobe Bryant. The former Los Angeles Laker and his daughter Gianna and 7 others died in a helicopter crash in Calabasas, California on Sunday. The impact on Bryant's death can be felt on the UCF campus, and UCF men's basketball head coach Johnny Dawkins spoke about the impact and legacy of Kobe Bryant.
8, 24. Those two numbers say it all. Members of the UCF community are mourning and remembering the life of NBA legend Kobe Bryant. UCF men's basketball head coach Johnny Dawkins had the opportunity to work with Bryant during his career. Dawkins says that the lessons Bryant gave to others stretch beyond basketball.
He left us some very good lessons. I think a lesson that he left is this is his, how much he just loved the process. Not only was he a great player, he loved the process of becoming a great player. And I think that's something that we all can take, to heart, no matter what field you're in.
The men's basketball team played against the Memphis Tigers on Wednesday night, but that was far from the most important thing on people's minds. Before the game began, those in attendance held a brief moment of silence for Bryant. Memphis head coach Penny Hardaway remembered Bryant during the game by wearing Kobe 4 Pro Tro Wiesnard shoes. Hardaway says that Bryant's legacy isn't dead, but will continue to live through others.
His legacy will live on through us, the guys that competed against him, the guys that knew him, the fans all around the world. And it's still devastating with all 9 passengers. But obviously we touched Kobe. He was a peer. And man, it's just every 5 minutes I think about it.
Both Dawkins and Hardaway took to Twitter Sunday to express their condolences to the Bryant family and those involved in the crash. Dawkins says that Bryant's life was exemplary for how others can live their own lives.
He's going to be missed. I mean, he left an amazing legacy. He's going to be missed, and hopefully, there's a lot of things that young people and adults as well can take away from the way he lived his life.
Bryant is survived by his wife Vanessa and daughters Natalia, Bianca, and Capri.
The Bryant family's Mamba Sports Foundation organized the Mamba on 3 Fund to donate those impacted by the crash on Sunday. The UCF men's basketball team is attempting to get back on track this weekend. The Knights lost their 2nd game in a row on Wednesday when they played the Memphis Tigers. Despite the struggles, the team continues to look forward to the matchup against USF on Saturday. Knights guard Cesar DeJesus totaled 13 points in the loss against Memphis, but says this week is all about the team getting good practices.
Just worry about going 1-0, worrying about having good practices under our belt over the week until it leads up to USF, and just worry about USF when it comes.
Has averaged just 68 points per game in the 2-game losing streak. Despite the lack of offense, head coach Johnny Dawkins says the most important thing moving forward is for the team to stay together. UCF will travel to Tampa to take on USF on Saturday. Tip-off is set for 4 p.m. The UCF women's basketball team also played this week, and they return to Addition Financial Arena on Saturday. They'll take on the SMU Mustangs, and the Knights will look to rebound after a crushing 67-65 loss on the road against Temple Wednesday night. At the end of the game, guard Siani Martin missed a potential game-tying shot in the final seconds. The Knights have been better at home than on the road this season, and they're 9-1 at home. However, they're just 2-5 on the road. The Knights will look to get back to their winning ways as they're going up against an SMU team that's on a current 2-game winning streak. Tip-off is set for 2 p.m. And that's all the time we have for sports this week. Back to Carolina and Jayla.
Thanks, Kyle. You know what's happening this weekend that's super exciting, Jayla?
What's going on?
The Super Bowl is going on this week right here in Miami, a little south of us.
It surely is. I'm actually rooting for both teams, so I'm looking forward to a great game.
I'm really excited to just get together with some friends and have some typical food, some pigs in a blanket. I'm a big fan of just chips and salsa.
I'm ready for some wings, Carolina, and some ranch and, just some great snacks with friends and family.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that, like I said. But that's all the time we have for right now. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always keep up with us during the week on our Instagram at UCF Nightly News.
And if you do have a story idea that you want us to know about, you can reach us at nightlynews@ucf@gmail.com. Thanks for watching and have a great day.